Today, Kasongo, which is really annoying them, is again somebody from their home.
Yes. Yes.
So who is he talking on his behalf?
Yeah.
The Kalenjins are suffering, just like the Kikuyu is suffering, just like the Luo is suffering, just like the Luya is suffering, just like any other community in this country is suffering.
There is an evil spirit in Kenya that is resident in some leaders. They churn out falsehood. They oppose everything.
Only an evil spirit can do those kind of things. And that's what I'm saying, is describing himself.
I find it unfair that President William Ruto is not being compared with President Uhuru Kenyatta, is not being compared with President Mwai Kibaki, he is not even being compared with President Jomo Kenyatta. Because of the disease and mentality of tribalism.
They know a man like him, because he's very young, who has a master's degree in law and has taught universities. I'm wondering whether that university still exists if he was teaching with that brain.
And I will not pretend I'm capable of being a leader if I have no solution to the unemployment in this country.
Of a country, a president has his family, which is the cabinet. The president has supporters who support that system called the government.
So do you think now the ACK, the Catholic, the NCCK have now managed...
They now know they were dealing with the wrong character. And I will not pretend I'm capable of being a leader if I have no solution to the unemployment in this country.
Of a country, a president has his family, which is the cabinet. The president has supporters who support that system called the government.
So do you think now the ACK, the Catholic, the NCCK have now managed...
They now know they were dealing with the wrong character. Good leadership, you need to have a clear vision. Good leadership, your attitude must be to serve. Good leadership, you must be looking for a legacy. Somebody who aspires to look at greatness in form of what you leave behind as a legacy.
Been a very eventful 2024, and of course I have to bring the gentleman who made this journey fun to walk around. And I'm speaking none other than Zach here, and of course the legend, the man, the one who keeps us in check and shares with us the history of Kenya that we maybe missed. Cyrus Jerome, how are you, gentlemen?
We are good.
You okay?
I'm good.
Do you want to speak on his behalf?
I'm also very good.
Oh.
I'm doing well. Growing young every day.
I can see.
Don't say I look like a Gen Z.
Yeah.
And I'm going older every day.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Gen X.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see that. Looking at Gen Z.
That's why you're growing the beard.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm growing old.
Wisdom may be coming soon.
Every sunset represents every waning features of young man.
That's very nice. This one is becoming younger, you're growing older.
Yes.
Interesting.
We meet at the same time at 50.
You meet somewhere. 2024. How would you, in one statement, how would you describe your 2024 generally?
Eventful.
Eventful. Cyrus?
A good year for me.
Good year. Wow.
For me.
For you.
And not for Kenyans.
Yeah, because it seems like you're not Kenyan.
Just because I've done nothing here.
Oh, okay.
Anybody who's trying to play his game in Kenya, you're wasting your time.
Wasting time. And because not all of us will have the chance to play the game outside, when you say if we're playing here, we're wasting our time, are we doomed as Kenyans?
If we decide to be doomed, we'll be doomed. If we decide we want to sort it out, we'll sort it out. It's our decision. It's in our hands.
So we have to decide. And a few minutes ago, we were doing a recording where you two actually spoke about the lack of good leadership generally, or the people we elect not delivering to the expectations of Kenyans. What is this that you say is bad leadership, and what is good leadership?
Good leadership, you need to have a clear vision. Good leadership, your attitude must be to serve. Good leadership, you must be looking for a legacy. Somebody who aspires to look at greatness in form of what you leave behind as a legacy. That is good leadership. You must have a clear vision of where you want to take a country, or where you want to take a company, or whatever business you want to deal with. So you've got to be clear from the word go. As a leader, what is this that I'm going to do different from everybody else? And what is this that is not there that I can put on the table that shall enhance goodness in life of the citizen? Goodness in life. Everybody's looking to live a good life.
Okay. Zach, since you're part of that conversation and you're very critical of the current administration, if today we left Zach as, say, the president, what would you do to give what Cyrus is saying, good leadership that sorts Kenyans basically in their everyday life?
I would say leadership is not as difficult as pundits, analysts, and people who study leadership claim. Because leadership is nothing but giving direction, giving solutions, and rising up to the occasion as needed. The first thing to do, I think, for any good leader, whether that is a family leader or a country leader, will be identifying the problems that bedevil your people. Then, crafting solution by involving the rest of your members. I like to compare a country with a family. If there's a problem, you happen to be the head of the family, whether it's a mother or the father, depending on which culture you come from. But the head of the family should be able to say, as a family, my spouse and my children are experiencing 2, 3, 4, 5 problems. These problems can only be solved this way, within this time, and we need to do this together. So it's also important to listen to the other members, the stakeholders of the family, to know how much should be spent where, which time should be allocated to which problem. This is the fate of a country. A president has his family, which is the cabinet. The president has supporters who support that system called the government. Remember, the bureaucracy is not part of the presidency, but bureaucracy is eternal. It is there. It survives the president. It's the one that helps to implement the vision that my senior brother Cyrus is talking about here. A vision that a leader cast, which elects them to the office through election, should be implemented by seasoned and technocratic bureaucracy, which gives solution and life into this vision. And what are these things? Easy. How should education be transformed? How should education be implemented? How should education be delivered? And how should education be measured for the population? This is the question that a president, while aspiring to lead, says to the people and say, I will tremendously improve the quality of education in my country. And I will put all bona fide children in school from kindergarten to say university. So once you say that and people say, yes, that's what we want for our children, you go into the office and then that manifesto item called education transformation, you give it to a bureaucracy called government. Now, what if you don't listen to government as a president? What if you do not share openly and freely with the cabinet? Because remember, the cabinet has, in our case, a minimum of 14 and a maximum of 22.
Yes.
Currently, we have 17 ministers, actually 18. We still have 2 more to be appointed, the gender and the interior. We have 22 maximum. Suppose you have 22 men and women who are helping you deliver to you, or rather to the people, an agenda of education. There's only one cabinet secretary inside there for education. The other 21 must also feel to be part of it, and that's what they call collective responsibility in a government. So my thinking, without extrapolating much, is that if I was elected president of the republic today, I would not claim genius status, and I would not claim divinity. I would not rely on my own understanding. I think we would only bring everybody together to implement an agenda that we have already agreed as a country, and then bring everybody together on board, so that if we fail, I am not the one failing.
It's everyone, yes, that fails. Cyrus, is it that, is from what I'm getting, are you saying that people are not listening? From what you're saying, What has made our government become so targeted or criticized by everyone?
You see, let me pick up from the issue of education. Education is an investment.
Yes.
When I take my child to school, I expect that child tomorrow to get a good job, to live a good life. Meaning, if I want to be a leader, I must put in consideration that the small person in this world, Mama Mboga and everybody else, the biggest investment they do is in their children. If these children are not given opportunity to grow, if they are not given work to do, why invest? Because even yourself, when you invest in buying a house, you expect it to give you returns. In places where people don't have massive acreages of land, somebody sold a point of an acre just for the child to go to school. That parent is investing because in his old age, that parent wants to rely on the income of the child for the homestead to continue.
Yeah.
And therefore, the first thing any leadership needs to think about is how do I put money in the pockets of my people? Now that I have an educated population, they need work. You have data. You train the people in certain disciplines. Can you provide employment in those disciplines? Secondly, all these documents are available. You cannot be a president who is Mr. Know-it-all. The first thing you need in running a government is to listen to the technical people in each ministry.
Yeah.
That is why you have ministers. You can't tell me you are farmer number one, you are teacher number one, you are footballer number one, you are engineer number one, you are everything number one. And therefore, you sit on a table and you are issuing instructions to people who understand it better than you. That's number one. Number two, application of our natural resources.
But is that...
Are we applying our natural resources to create employment?
I have a question for that first point you raised. Do we have information, valid information, that indeed there's a problem with listening, or are we assuming from outside that maybe the president does not listen to his cabinet?
You cannot tell us that Public Service Commission is made of dunderheads, and therefore they employed technical people in these ministries who are dunderheads. You can't tell us that. So therefore, the mistake must be somewhere else. We have technical competences in each ministry. They are the ones to propose how that ministry should move forward. If we have a vision, it must be subjected to thorough scrutiny. Does it meet the technical requirements? Does it meet the legal requirements? And how are the resources to implement your manifesto going to be raised? No country develops through taxation. None.
That's very true. Because leadership, generally, the whole of this year, a lot of people have been raising a question on leadership. And towards the end, we've seen people coming out and saying they want to take leadership of this country. We have Tata, who's set up a committee that wants to investigate his viable, or if Kenyans want him to vie. We have Morara Kebaso, who's also said he wants to run. And more people keep coming out. From that list, how then do we trust that Tata or Morara or Cyrus or even Zach is someone who, when we put in place, then we will trust his leadership?
Well,
because you see, there is no angel from heaven to come to Kenya.
One of us will have to do it.
Yeah.
But above all, on behalf of all of us.
Yes.
It is not me. It's not I. It is not myself. I am just a shepherd trying to lead through the sheep in a dark jungle of wolves. So the first qualification to know that anybody is unfit to lead people is to appropriate all unto himself or herself. Okay? When you see people want, I want to, but the two people you have mentioned, for instance, because you just brought them here. One is saying, I want to understand the viability of my candidature. Another one is already saying, vote for me, I know the problem, I will sort it. By that virtue alone, you should know who is not fit, who is unfit. Kenyans, and we said this in an earlier podcast, Kenyans must rise up to the occasion of determining the leadership they want. If they know what is their problem and they are looking for solutions, that is why there are mechanisms to determine whether the people coming in, first of all, understand themselves. Secondly, whether they understand the problems. Thirdly, if they have solutions that are viable. And number four, whether they know how to get things done. And this is it. This is how Kenyans always fall for gullible decision making. Because somebody comes, doesn't know the problem really, that doesn't know really what is, as Sarah is saying, does not know exactly how unemployment has caused trouble among the youth, does not know the numbers by statistics of how many people are exiting tertiary and university education institutions, and how many are being absorbed in private sector, how many people are absorbed in government, how many are transiting into government. If you do not know rudimentary data, is that one, then first of all, you can proceed to the next step of Kenya's determination. Two, if you know these problems, that you know 200,000 young people, rather 2 million leave primary school, 800,000 leave secondary school, 600,000 leave university. Now, those who are now at the top tier of technocracy, how can we absorb them? Are they technicians or are they professionals? Once you determine, then you go to the next step of saying, now Kenyans, having seen this data, having scrutinized this with our team, and having determined the economic strength projections of our country's future, I think we will absorb these young people in industries. I think we will absorb them in manufacturing. I think we'll absorb them in professional courses. And I think we may, because we are highly trained skills, we may give them, some of us, to international labor. Stop about these things they are talking about. Some of this is modern slavery. We have become the source of labor for slaves. We are simply doing what was done, except that in 1600, Arabs and Europeans used guns to appropriate human souls for colonies. But today, we are voluntarily giving our own people as slaves outside Kenya. Okay? So my point is this. How to know who should not be the difficult question. How to know who is a question of us engaging our mind. It's a question of us being Article 1, we the people. The sovereignty is ours. We have the power. Our power will be exercised in a certain manner. When you say our power will be exercised in a certain manner by some people, the next difficult thing is to identify who competitively shall discuss these matters on the table and bring meaningful change. Kenyans have the power themselves. But if we are excited, if Kenyans get excited by flamboyancy, if they want to get excited by pimp and pomp and color and celebrity status thinking, we will continue digging hell. And I tell you, hell knoweth no fury like an ignorant Kenyan voter.
And in line with what he said, just the other day, the president said, you people are resisting because there is an evil spirit here. Did you hear that? Let me play for you the clip.
Evil spirit in Kenya. There is an evil spirit in Kenya that is resident in some leaders. They churn out falsehood. They oppose everything.
Why are you opposing the president? Do you have an evil spirit, Cyrus? On a serious note.
If I've got to respond to that, William described himself perfectly. It is him he was describing.
Oh.
He was describing himself. That's exactly what he is.
Why do you say so?
He was describing himself. You can't see it.
No, I just need you to
as a
quantify
Kenyan,
your...
if you look at the 28 months he's been in leadership, you can't tell the evil in him, evil spirit in him.
I don't know how to discern evil spirits personally.
How do you go stealing from public servants that you want to build houses? How do you go killing children younger than your children with Subarus? How do you lie? Somebody was quantifying, he has said this number of lies. What else can you describe as an evil spirit? And I said that in an interview with Tony Gashoka. Long time ago, I said, this man is a spirit. And I'm evil.
What do you mean he's
If you can go back to that, because we can observe. Honestly, if I look at you and I listen to you, I can read from your body language. Are you saying the truth or not? And if you want to know when William is lying, is when he's forceful. When he's very forceful about something, you know there is a business, he wants to make money. And I've always told you, you cannot be a good leader if your intention of going into leadership is to look for money.
That's very
If
good.
you want to look for money, open a shop. If you want to leave a legacy because you have a vision, look for leadership. If we agree our children are our investment, if we agree I employed you by voting for you, you are my worker, when do you get the audacity to start killing me? Because me as your boss, I'm telling you the taxes you're bringing are too high. Where do you get the audacity to force everything you want? And I'm your boss. I don't want you to pay you housing levy because this transaction, I don't see the benefit I'm getting out of it. I tell you, listen, other people are able to get petroleum at a better price. I tell you, this thing you are doing of hospital, honestly, National Hospital Insurance Fund needed very little adjustment to serve us. You did not need to spend 103 billion on a software that is not even worth $1 billion to tell us that you are coming to. That's an evil spirit. Only an evil spirit can do those kind of things. And that's what I'm saying, is describing himself.
Zach, you know, that's a very deep accusation. I don't know, I know Cyrus knows William in person, they're friends for a long time, but can you pinpoint maybe at least something? And this, we have to come up with something. Not come up, we have to pinpoint one good thing, everyone, that the president has done for this country, because everyone has been so critical, myself inclusive, but I feel sometimes we're not keen to at least see one good thing.
If you want to win a vote, honestly, you must limit the lies you're telling people. In fact, you should try your best and be genuine with the voter. You are desperate, you want to be a leader maybe, but try and be candid. Tell them what you are able to do and what you are not able to do. In this case, we had leadership that looked at the government and the people's taxes as a form of income. And they're ruined everybody. Nobody has money in the pocket in this country. What else can you call evil?
Zach, one good thing this regime has done.
I want to ask you to think and tell us. Why are you asking?
No, I'll come, but let
Well,
Zach.
I think the answer is, as he's saying, when you see that you have to think about one good thing, there's a problem. When you see that somebody has to think of one thing good you have done, there's a problem, because we should be saying, tell us one thing that he has done wrong. Maybe that should be difficult to come up with if you're a good person. But if I say, and what do you think about that girl? Give me one good thing about her. That question already is an indictment. Because you should say, give me a balance of things he has done, good versus bad. Then that will interrogate.
Yeah, and then you can interrogate it.
Yeah, you can interrogate. But when
Tell me how you're giving somebody
Yes.
an airport
Yes.
to sack Kenyans
Yes.
when you're supposed to be looking for employment, and 34 after he has collected money, he has increased everything. You're not even embarrassed that Kenyans are suffering already. You really want them to pay more. And you're telling me that is leadership? That is not an evil spirit?
it's difficult to say.
He described himself.
You know,
Basically.
part of the promises he made during the campaign season was the Hustler Fund #1 was one, yeah?
Have you heard of it again?
Yes, even the other day they were, I think cases.
How do you give somebody, I don't know, 500 shillings to do
No,
business?
it's grown now.
Because it's gone from now personal loans to more organizations, and there are testimonies of people who say it's changed, they've benefited.
You think there's a Kenyan whose life has improved since this KK regime came into place? Honestly, looking at their past and today, not that the past was excellent. We were desperate to get things improving. And instead, they're getting worse until very bad things of the past are looking better. That Kenyans are saying, better the past.
And you know that past you're speaking of, just the other day, one of the CSs said, you are accusing the president simply
I
because...
find it unfair that many people, especially the
That was just
No.
the media
Zach needs to see
and our
this.
critics are criticizing President William Ruto, not based on the facts, on the things we are doing, but it's a criticism that is laced with tribalism. I find it unfair that President William Ruto is not being compared with President Uhuru Kenyatta, is not being compared with President Kibaki, he is not even being compared with President Jomo Kenyatta. Because of the disease and mentality of tribalism, every critic of William Ruto is comparing him with Daniel Arap Moi.
Zach.
First of all, this guy had been inducted by entire youth for our country.
Yes,
He
yes.
was told to go home. So I actually think he was illegally speaking.
No, but he's the CS.
Yeah, but illegally.
But you know, you
He's
can't say
a-
illegally
But
when you're using the
yes.
system. What we have,
Yeah, but
no,
what
he said-
we have
what he
we
said-
operate within the law,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, what
He's
he
an
said-
appointee of the
Yeah.
He's an
president.
appointee of the president. He's
So-
a CS.
Yeah.
What he has said.
But he's more than an appointee of the president.
Yeah.
They hold joint accounts in Dubai. They are there on the social media, you can find them. So do you expect him to be objective in what he's saying?
Second,
They think to win our background, we must tell them Kikuyus are bad people.
yes. And that's what
That is the narrative he's trying to develop.
That's a card he's pulling.
Somebody who's gone to school
So is
at
it,
this time and age, can you start narratives of tribalism?
are we okay? What I
He is stuck in the old order.
So
technically what he's just saying is a tribal card.
This
of course, that's what it's trying to
Not it's actually tribal bigotry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that to some extent I was not happy with his sentiments,
Yeah.
but I have a question. When we speak about the tribal politics, the question is: you remember when we had the digital migration for TV,
Yes.
and there was a lot of
2015.
resistance,
Yes.
and the former president decided to put us in darkness. Like, if you don't move, that's your problem.
Forcefully
Switch off and
yes.
removed.
Yes.
Is it that politicians are also now in that era of they have refused to move from this analog politics to the digital form of politics?
They know a man like him, because he's very young, who has a master's degree in law and has taught universities. I'm wondering whether that university still exists if he was teaching in that brain. A man who has taught in a university, speaking such trash, tells you that tribalism is beneficial to the ruling class. Because it will be used to invoke we feelings against them feelings, as he said. It is a simple card. It works in Kenya.
It works.
Anybody who says Kikuyu have been there for too long, anybody who claim that Kikuyu are the one who are holding our blessings, had it not been for Kikuyus, we would have been. Anybody who says that the government that Kikuyus have been has been there. It works. It works among us fools. That yes, except them, we would be better. Except for them, we would have been better. So I think and actually think the president must have been very ashamed if he is indeed must have been very ashamed by that kind of defense for him.
If he's ever in touch with reality, when you start believing you can play a tribal card, and yet the Gen Z movement was started by somebody from your home,
Yes.
and it was taken by Kenyans as tribalists.
Shadrach Kiprono.
Kiprono.
Yes.
Today, Kasongo, which is really annoying them, is again somebody from their home.
Yes. Yes.
So who is he talking on his behalf?
Yeah.
The Kalenjins are suffering, just like the Kikuyu is suffering, just like the Luo is suffering, just like the Luya is suffering, just like any other community in this country is suffering. So that rubbish of trying to think you will cling on your community
Yes.
when you are looting the same community you belong to, You even give them fertilizer. They are farmers, most of them, and the fertilizer you give them is soil and stones.
Yes.
Honestly, you must be embarrassed of how your head is working.
That's I'm actually trying to wonder whether he's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, his head is right, because having been elected by the youth and having been declared persona non grata and fit to lead them, I think coming back to them now, he wanted to become extremely offensive to them and show them the middle finger that even if you guys don't wanted me around, I am here and you can do nothing about it because my tribe protects me. My tribe brings me here.
I think the tribe betrayed him, because the same day he went to, there was a Kalenjin festival and he was bullied. That was in
And that should open their eyes.
And then that brings me to, by the way, if you're watching.
That's the point you have said.
Yes, I'm coming back to it. I'm coming to it. If you're watching us, you can share your comments and thoughts in the comment section. We will be reading them at some point. But Cyrus, I want to ask, is it that the political class, since you belong there, does not understand what happened after June 25th?
We have two classes of politicians. We have leaders and politicians. People who look at politics as employment, and there are those of us who look at politics as a form to provide leadership and serve and look for a legacy. You want to be called Mheshimiwa. You want the children you're giving birth to. The advantage you leave them is that Kenyans are saying their father did this for us. But there are those who believe a government is their business. The intention of going into politics is not to provide the leadership but to loot. And this is the worst. The KK regime is the worst. Shameless.
Zach, I want, just as I was saying, the whole idea of whatever happened between June, July, do politicians in particular understand the shift that happened in Kenya's political space?
Talk to them in two spaces. There are those who think they can insult even the bishops, who are coming up to tell them what you're doing is wrong. And there are those who sincerely are leaders and they would want to provide leadership. So just differentiate the two. Because you might lump everybody together as a politician, yet some are leaders, and others are just conmen who are looking for an opportunity to loot a country.
Yeah.
So there's a overwhelming majority of them have not understood what was happening in Kenya and seems to be deluded.
Because they are not leaders.
Yes, and they seem to be deluded that it is over. However, it is not over. And by the time they realize the seismic and tectonic moves that have happened in the political class, it will be too late for them and it will be catastrophic, because they will not only lose their power, but they will also lose their resources, they will lose their grip, and they will lose the influence and honor and the respect he's talking about.
I think they've lost so much of that.
Yes, but for the leaders, those who have understood what is happening, have started arriving, have started talking. I mean, that's why we too here, members of political class, are discussing these things, because however much we hide ourselves under the sun.
Leadership class.
Yes, we know what is happening. We know what is needed. We know the move that has undertaken in our politics. And it is a matter of time. Much of these people are asking for real, meaningful change. And they are asking for leaders. Politicians have been buried in a deep grave that shall never be unburied again. Those who do not transform from politicians to leaders, and those who are leaders who will want to appear as politicians, they die.
It's cast. And I think we have a problem with, because what we deal with is a lot of politicians, and I hope politicians by now, if you've not, when you go for Christmas, think about this, because you have time to reflect. And as we continue...
Then we've got to be careful, because there's this thing they call affection. At the end of the day, they'll defect and start, and they'll be ahead of you.
Camouflage.
Oh, in criticizing what happened in the past. And yet they're part of it. Tomorrow, they'll again criticize, but once a government is formed, they jump there.
So what should
because their intent of looking for leadership is just the same.
Yes.
And it's not genuine. And this should help us to judge these people who jump every day.
Change positions for
sake of their.
Yes. Goalposts, they switch.
Yeah.
And now that we're talking about the change, this one of the CSs, again, a different one, had this to say about this change.
And I want to tell the young people of this country, nchi haizi pelekwa namna hiyo. Wewe unakaa kwa mtandao, unakosa uzalendo, you become so unpatriotic.
Basically what he was saying, it was a long conversation. The issue was people are very critical, and online they're talking bad things, that we have lost our patriotism. And they will not just sit and watch us. People, online, come and the Kasongo thing.
He even doesn't
They will hit
believe in
back.
what he's saying.
Why do you say so?
Because we've been in rallies together. And he's talked totally the opposite. So I don't think he believes in what he's saying. It's convenience.
It's convenience.
Yeah.
Zach, what happens to people? Because these guys were very, especially the ODM members who came in as, they were called what? Experts for the broad-based government. They were very critical. Now, they're the ones who are singing the tune more than the people that were even in UDA.
Okay, I think to be fair, social media is uncharted waters. Social media has been used to drive change. Social media too has been used to drive hatred.
Yeah.
Social media is also a powerful tool that can lead to incitement. However, social media has also elevated erstwhile matters that would never have been brought to public. A good leader, and I think this is what Hassan Joho, should on behalf of his colleagues do. There is a whole world of unknown in the social media. Is an unexplored minefield. What are these young people, the one that he's talking about, what are they saying on what matters? A responsible government, a responsible leader. We too get criticized with him in social media. If he says something today, if I say something today, and fair enough, I say a lot of things, you will find people coming there to insult you personally, unrelated with what you are saying.
Yeah.
Okay? There are also people who come here and say, however, your point lacks merit on X, Y, Z. Another one come and say, go and tell that to your mother. Those are three different people.
Yeah.
Another one, this one who tells you, on the contrary, I think you guys should do X. Are those allies or enemies?
Those are allies.
Yeah, those as a government, those are allies. People who give meaningful criticism. But people who always insult and insult and insult. Some of these people uses parody accounts.
Yeah.
They are not true accounts. They are people who perhaps know you. People who perhaps are your competitors in politics. And basically what they are doing, they are not criticizing what you are doing or criticizing what you are saying. What they are doing is that they are picking on you to hurt you by insulting you. As a leader, what should you do? You should not insult them back, number one. Number two, you should not engage them. Perhaps if you must engage them in a meaningful leader-like way. So I think for a government, criticism should not be taken personally. To begin there, it's not personal. I've heard him say about the president has had many caricatures. He has been caricatured around. Remember, social media drove out the retired president.
Yeah.
Critics threw him out of the window.
And by the time I think people were more friendly than they are now.
Exactly, they were less toxic.
Yeah.
Today, they can say anything. They are calling people anything. I've even seen some, like I think you have seen this, through the artificial intelligence application that has come, AI. You actually saw one where the deputy president is walking from his mansion, and then from nowhere he removes his gun, and then shoots at the president. And then the president's fall with a chair. That's AI. It's not true. It never happened anywhere. But these videos can be used to foment hatred.
Yeah.
Can be used to foment tension. Because if you are the president today, Sarah, and Jirogo is your deputy president, then you see a video where he has removed a gun and shot you while sitting down. You're a human being. Even if you know it's a lie, you're going to start thinking of saying as a different
He might have paid people to...
Yes, it's a message. Perhaps it's a coded message that you are receiving.
Yeah.
And we have seen presidents assassinated, to be honest. We have seen violence take over leaders in the world. My point is this, to summarize that point. A leader of the status of a cabinet secretary, if they have time to go to social media Okay?
He has a lot of time, even on
Yes,
TikTok.
and I wonder where he gets the time. But I'm saying, if they have time to go to social media, I suppose they should not have. They should have time working. They should go to social media to complement it with good thing. Because imagine you have said something nice that government already has done. Even if somebody is coming to insult you, you can repeat it and say, I am talking about a school that the government built for 2 years, has equipped the school, has brought the teachers, and now we are pushing for enrollment. Please, instead of criticizing us, give us your children to come to this school, or give us those who are not going to school. I used to do that when I was in government. And sometimes you face a guy and say, I used to, and there was one whom I answered. I went to open a vocational training in Kakamega. I was opening to one in Bungoma and another one in Kakamega. Then I posted myself speaking and asking for enrollment. Then a guy from nowhere tells me, instead of opening a vocational training center, you should go and build your family a mansion. Then I said, well, this is government money. I want to push up the skilled young people in your region. Are you able to give us 2 more? And I pay for them. Exactly, I pay for 2. Give me 2. Then the guy say, Mkubwa, I just wanted to say hi.
That ended.
Yes, it ended there. So
Okay, let me ask you, Saira, since you've also been a member of parliament, what is this obsession? Even him was a CAS. What is this obsession with government officials and launching projects?
You see, launching projects that are genuine and that are going to benefit people,
the public
is a way of telling the public, this is what I'm doing for you. But when you launch false projects,
Morara has shown us a lot of them
it's shown us a lot of them, that then discourage to you the politicians we're talking about. Secondly, just to conclude on what Joe is saying, Joe is not dumb. He knows if he doesn't say that, the current master will not be excited. So he's not addressing the Gen Z. They should not even respond to him. He's addressing William Ruto, because that's what William Ruto likes listening to. He doesn't want to be told the country is rotten. If he said that, he'll go back to Raila and tell him, I don't want this man, give me another one. So Joho is just being intelligent in a selfish way by addressing William instead of addressing Kenyans, because he knows what he's saying. He's not talking to Kenyans at all.
So he's maintaining what people are calling the bread-based segment of piece of his bread. So something else, we've seen the president call people stupid, fools, like on several occasions. Who is this who's caused our president to get angry, and why is our president angry? Why is the president telling people they are stupid?
Who gave him the meter for judging who is stupid and who is intelligent? How does he know that he's not the most stupid?
No, he said if you
can't.
are causing problems.
Why would I just assume Sarah is stupid? Why don't I question myself? Why is everybody opposing what I'm doing? Am I not the problem? If I can't question that, then I must be stupid myself.
Let me actually play for you a clip so you get that if you missed it, you understand what it is.
Anybody opposing vaccination to eliminate FMD and PPR is simply mad and unreasonable and possibly stupid.
I want us to focus on the outburst. Is our president having an outburst?
He was protecting bread. Obviously, he's been paid to say those things he's saying. The cows are mine. The donkeys are mine. Why did they bother you? The mandate we gave you. Did I give you mandate including my chicken at home?
Okay. When he was addressing, when they were launching, I think Devki in Taita Taveta, again, there was an issue with governors. That day, the newspaper said that governors were forced to sign some documents and contracts with regards to new machines for the counties for hospitals, medical equipment, yes. And that day, again, he actually said it in Swahili. If you are forced to sign something and you did not read it,
when he says that,
you must be. He actually pointed, you must be.
So, and I want to tell you, when he says that, That is exactly what he has done. People have not understood this man. When he says, those who are signing, you are being forced to sign a document, you must be stupid. He's done that already. He has forced them, they have signed. And therefore, because of the fear he has created in them, he can say anything.
47
For
governors.
public consumption, he can say anything.
You want to tell me
Now, tell me.
47 governors?
Recently, there was a headline. There are 10 governors, none of them has done any development project.
Yeah.
And they're not being indicted by anybody. Tell me why they've not signed anything you tell them to do. Because obviously, they are due for recall. And there's a process of removing them.
Yeah.
And I can control the Senate, I can control the National Assembly, and of course the Senate is the one responsible for removing governors. So I have to sign. And this governor, you see, where you have a family and the father does wrong things, the children will do wrong things. Then when you tell your children to do what is correct or what is wrong and they refuse, you already have a whip against them. And that is how the scenario between presidency and the counties is. That is the scenario between cabinet, parliament, and the presidency is. They commit small crimes. Those small crimes are used to hold them hostage. They are not able to think independently. They are not able, even what they know is wrong, they are not able to do it correctly. They must satisfy the interests of he who holds the key to me remaining in my seat.
That's a very sad space to be,
And that's the sad space we are in.
How will the president work on this anger that he's calling people stupid? Because it's, I want to imagine there's a presidential language.
I think it's important to manage emotions for everybody, but more importantly for a president. And I remember the retired president also caught himself in the crossfires of the same angry outbursts. I don't know who can teach presidents to have restraint, because almost every president I remember, including the first president, the founding president of the Republic, Jomo Kenyatta, they have had moments of losing cool and temper.
All of them have done it.
Yeah, all of them.
Maybe the only one.
The piece of Moi also sometimes.
Yeah, Moi used to lose it.
There was a time Moi
Kibaki maybe is the one I didn't see him lose it.
He did, but it was
He
in
did
a
in a
manner that was
joking But he
Kibaki, I remember one of the when Kibaki got very angry by somebody who had criticized him, and I remember he said, mtu kama huyo ni mtu kama huyo anafaa kutromba makofi. Mavi ya kuku, all of us would remember.
Yeah,
in a humor manner, but he had lost his temper.
Yeah.
He was angry, he was visibly angry.
But he did not,
Yes.
he lost his temper.
He didn't use.
He wasn't, you see, these animals are mine. I did not give you mandate to come and run my home. Moi once said, we share the sun, but we don't share where we sleep. Animals belong to me. My family belongs to me. The next thing we'll be told is if your wife is not vaccinated, she will not get certain services.
But
You must also gauge what mandate were you given by the Kenyan population.
the mandate.
Hey, what is your mandate as a president?
You people have not given me a solution for the outburst.
Yeah, that's what I expected.
No, but I gave you the solution.
Yes.
He's protecting the loot they are sharing with
No,
the
no,
people
no.
that are doing what they are doing.
What he needs to do to manage, because you can't have.
It is intentional. It is not about managing. It is desperation to convince people to cooperate with the wrong thing he's doing with. And hence I must use very heavy language so that people think he might be saying the truth, that what he's doing is helpful to us. It is a form of convincing that I must look angry, that you don't understand what I'm doing is good for you, when deep in me I know what I'm doing is evil. That's what it is.
It's very narcissistic.
Yeah, so what you're asking is...
Now you have understood
Yeah.
the description I was trying to give.
Yeah, so what you're asking is what can be done. Nobody knows. That was a saying. Nobody knows.
What do you mean nobody knows?
Nobody knows. Because, as I have said,
That's like his form of convincing.
yes, I mean, nobody knows what can be done. Because people knew in the past that there's a PR team surrounding everything.
Even now, there's so many communication experts.
Even in America, leaders all over, including in church. Leaders in church have also lost cool and temper. And some of these things, because they are not things you pre-plan perhaps, they cannot be managed. I'm sure there are many issues that presidents are supposed to ban and bust over. But because they come before they get the podium, they are not able to bust about them. So I think for a president, there should be constant engagements with people they trust to manage their anger. Because, anger is good for nobody.
Yeah.
It is good for the person and it's bad for the people.
Yes.
Maybe
it is not actually anger. You people are making a mistake.
Let me tell you.
You see, when somebody gets somebody to say, Kenya ni ya mama yako, what is in their head?
It's arrogance.
It's not arrogance. What is their intent? What is in their mind? If they are doing something wrong to Kenya and you are complaining and somebody asks you, Kenya ni ya mama yako, what is inside that person's head? The intentions were wrong from the word go. It was not about leadership.
So you should not question my wrong. That's a feeling.
Kenya ni mama yako, hata kama ninaharibu, hata kama ninaiba, ni ya mama yako.
The actual commentary was, hii pesa si ya mama yako bwana.
Yes, but that's what it means.
I still remember. However, I feel like President Kibaki used golf as a way to ease himself. Our immediate former president used this thing as a way of, relax. Now, maybe tea does not do good to our president. Maybe we should try something else.
I don't think so.
Maybe engage in a game or something. Anyway,
you remember the narrative of KK government?
It
was based on poverty. And the way to fight poverty is to create a vision on how to understand the law of the farm, that you must work to earn. But here is a situation where a narrative was used to take a shortcut to be exactly like the people you are criticizing. This is what you must understand.
Okay. It's a well thought out strategy.
Yeah.
Wow. I had not thought of it in that angle. Now, let's move on to the church and politics, because that has been very, it's been out there towards the second half of the year. The church went quiet from, say, beginning of the year all the way. They're not. Maybe they're throwing a few tantrums here and there, but generally they were not. They were cold. Then came the Catholic bishops with a very earth-shaking statement, and they actually just said the president's government is made up of lies. No, they've not, I think, paid the Catholic mission hospitals. They were accused of so many things. Then a few days later, the ACK Bishop Olasapit came and spoke about it. I think 2 weeks later, now the NCCK came and spoke about it. And they were all critical of the president. And then, end of last week, we see evangelical churches leaders led by Bishop Mark Kariuki, JB Masinde, Arthur Kitonga, all of them in State House. And they don't tell us what they discussed. How does that make you feel about the church now?
In my view, the church was quiet a bit for a while. Basically because of the way KK government portrayed themselves before the last election. I'll give an example. There was this prayer breakfast at Safari Park Hotel, where President Uhuru was and William was. And at that time there was a lot of tension between Uhuru.
Very dramatic.
And William. And then somebody wanted to refuse to give a microphone to William to invite Uhuru. But Uhuru insisted, no, my deputy will invite me. And when he took the microphone, what did he do? He had the Bible and he looked at the congregation. This is our president, Mr. William Ruto. And he started singing, Bwana usemuya. And the tears were rolling. Now, that is so emotional for a Christian that the pastors were hit. Can you treat your deputy the way William Ruto is being treated by Uhuru? And here I am, mimi ni kijana ya Mungu. Bwana usemu yangu, rafiki yangu wewe, katika safari yangu, twatembea na wewe. And tears are coming out. Honestly, if you did not know the character you are dealing with, you'll be convinced this man is being massacred by Uhuru. But he was just playing on the side of the people. Now, look at these bishops seeing that. Honestly, they believed this is one of us. And the way he's being treated by this man who loves his drink is wrong.
He's persecuted.
He's being persecuted.
Think of the...
Now, with time, the first one they said, Yapana, maybe it's a mistake. The second one, the third one, the fourth one. And the things kept on piling. And they were saying, were we duped? Then after a while, they said, it looks like we were duped. And then finally, those who are genuinely, because also in the church, we have those who turns the church into a trading house. It's even in the Bible. And Jesus went and auction center and whipped them. Kimari. They are there. We have those who call themselves bishops.
Yeah.
And most of them are actually in the independent churches. They are not in the normal churches we know. Right? Those ones will continue. Because those are, it's in the Bible. They are auctioneers. They are not preachers. But genuine religions, after the second shock and saying, we have been duped, then they now start seeing evil being done against their flock. They have to come out. And only then can Kenyans look around and say, if I'm looking for a church, which church can I trust? And it's helping us to kill merchant churches. Because we are now realizing there are religions in this country that are not religions, they are business institutions.
They are bureaus.
They are bureaus, money changers. Those are what they are.
So do you think now the ACKs, the Catholic, the NCCK have now managed
They now know they were dealing with the wrong character. And I want to tell you, as time goes by, they'll be forced to protect their flock. I'm looking at 2025, a year when the church will come out on the street.
the church?
Yeah, and send goons to hit them.
So we
Then we
expect,
see if you'll survive.
we expect to see
No,
Olesabit.
there's a bit will be on the streets. I'm
Muhira.
telling you, Muhira will be on the streets. Philip Anyoro will be on the streets. Because you're dealing with somebody who doesn't listen. And who will never change his intentions of what governance is all about. Obsessed by competition, not by need. That I've lacked food, so I found you have eaten part of your food and I ate it without asking you. No, that is not the case. This is primitive accumulation of wealth. You don't even know how to apply it to create more wealth. And that's why you have opened accounts outside the country.
Okay.
If I knew what to do with money, I should be able to apply it here. If I knew why we invested in our children to go to school, I'll not be exporting investment that is supposed to be creating wealth for my country.
Here at home.
And I will not pretend I'm capable of being a leader if I have no solution to the unemployment in this country.
That's true. Zach, we've now seen the same habits that people were calling out during the demonstrations of bishops, allowing politicians get in churches to speak. And this in particular, at least I'll point out, we saw bishops from Meru, I think on Friday in State House with the former CS Linturi. And we saw the Deliverance Church leadership, Mark, Masinde, and I don't know, Kitonga and some other leaders. What does that say to us? Because they didn't even issue a statement to tell us, fine, we were in State House, yes, but this one,
this is what we discussed.
It was about
Is
them.
it fair to their congregants who've been raising issues?
It's not fair, but you have also to understand the original bromance between the church and the state. In the medieval stage, there were no states. The church was basically the author and executor of ultimate authority over men. The church was the landowner.
Yeah.
The church determined who became viceroy or leader over people in given provinces, and therefore bishops, reverends, and canons were powerful people, and their word was natural law spoken straight from the mind of God. Remember, the church was God. As enlightenment and science started finding a way, and people started asking for separation between state and church, the church could not let it go. The church fought. There were crusades of annihilation across Europe. There were conquests of religion across Pacific. And the day the church and the state were separated, they became allies. They realized that we are fighting over nothing. The state is interested in resources which is in the hands of the church, and the church requires the protection of the monarchs. They started working together. So it is not right to think that the church that work with the president or the church that criticizes president is a new phenomenon. It's not new. Even the churches that we are talking about here, remember, Catholic Church is an offshoot of Roman Empire.
Yeah.
When the Roman Empire was dying down,
So are they fighting to
of course, the pieces is theirs. The question is how to share and when. Because when Roman Empire was dying down, it transformed itself into Roman Catholic Church, so that now they could transform their power from political hardness to religious softness. Anglican Church, remember, when the British Empire was fizzling and winding down across the world, remember, it became powerful through the Anglican Church, the Church of England, which was founded by King James I. So, essentially what I'm saying is that the church and the state have always been allies. They have always been good bedfellows. And what is at stake for both is the people. The power that they want to wield that power over people. So if the church has the people, the state is worried. And when the state has people, the church is worried. They must find a formula, traditionally today and in the future, to work together. So if the church is criticizing the state, and the state is not able to fight off because the church ostensibly wields the power of God through the people, what are they going to do? The state uses resources to downright divide the church. So the church that is controlling people for the sake of resources, people come in there. So what the government is doing, as you can see today, is that because the mainstream church, which is organized, Anglican and Catholic, have already issued a stand statement against the government, what the state is doing is going for the charismatic evangelicals and Protestants who ostensibly have power. And by the way, charismatic leaders have got power. Don't doubt. One charismatic preacher who is capable of telling the congregants to go to a house and close themselves for death can tell them that the government must not be fought. It is against the Bible.
Will these people, these leaders convince the congregants? Because now it's the people. You see, we've just been here talking about the people.
I am skeptical.
I think
I'm always skeptical.
No, sometimes it's unfair to compare medieval times with the modern times. A lot has changed. And the church has transformed itself consistently. We've had times when the head of the Catholic Church has apologized over wrong things that the Catholic Church did in the past.
Yeah.
And therefore, it is wrong for us to hold them the same as the state. The genuine church seeks to guide morally so that the citizen lives a righteous life. And when you live a righteous life, you decrease the things we are seeing in the government today. So for me, they are directly opposite if you are genuinely doing your work. And if it is true they are fighting over resources, the Catholic Church will not be returning money. SEK will not be returning money because they are saying, no, we accept donations because we are a church, but this one we know is the taxes of our flock which has been stolen. We don't want it, take it back. So honestly, there is a split in the church.
That's what
we
I
have
said.
those who use the Bible
The pulpit, yes.
and the pulpit for business, and we have the genuine church. Tell me any bishop in any church here who is seeking to be as rich as Elon Musk. None. And whatever they do and the assets they have, they support the well-being of their church. We've seen universities belonging to churches. We've seen very many schools and institutions and the medical centers and hospitals that belong to the church. They are trying to participate in the well-being of a nation. And therefore it is wrong to judge them the way we would judge the medieval church. And I think we need to support Ole Sapit. We need to support the Catholic Church just the way we are supporting the Gen Z, and just the way we are supporting anybody who is against somebody who calls himself a leader and his intention is to turn leadership into business.
Let me clarify there.
Just before you clarify, so that you can join it, I feel like now the government has seen an opportunity to divide and conquer. So is this what is happening now? Because
Yes,
you
that's
will
what I'm
get
telling you.
the church,
Yes.
these ones agree with me, these ones don't.
Yes.
The spirit spoke to me, the spirit did not speak.
Yes, yes. I mean, this is what I'm saying. By the way, I am saying if the church would stand up for what doctrine it is founded upon, then we are lucky. But I'm talking about experience as a student of history.
History
That-
guides us so many.
Yes,
It's never wrong most of the
that-
times.
They said they are returning money. Have
Yeah.
they?
Yeah, they returned.
Okay, where is the evidence?
No.
Saying
Well,
returning money
okay.
is important. By the way, one of the bishop.
Bishop
of
Anyolo
SCA
actually said
Yes.
they returned the money, and when he was asked, he said, "We are dealing with the president. We cannot be doing things in a way that looks like."
You know, no, they said,
Yeah.
remember, the president had not given all that money. He said he gave him 2, they can come for 3. All right? So saying that they don't want the 3, that's right.
I think
But
that's the wrong
showing
debate.
that 2 billion shillings, 2 million shillings have been returned. What I'm saying essentially about the church
You
is
don't
that
trust that they
no,
returned the
I don't trust they returned that money. But what I'm
Bishop
saying
You see, it's
Anyolo
bad.
needs
What I'm
to
saying,
clarify.
It is really bad to lump the church together.
That is true also, yes.
Obviously, Zach, you can't lump everybody together.
well, I'm saying
Even amongst these politicians,
they are good ones.
these leaders, we have straightforward leadership,
Yes, and they are crooks.
and they are crooks.
Yes.
And being a straight leader doesn't mean you cannot fall prey to a super conman.
Yes,
Yeah.
true.
If somebody lied, and I explained, until you prove this person is a liar, this person is not genuine,
Yes.
you would have believed. Honestly, Bwana Hussein, man, why wouldn't you believe? Why are you blaming those who believe?
Well, I'm calling for caution.
Call for caution without condemning.
No, I'm not condemning. I'm just
Yes.
saying I'm calling for caution.
We still have those
Because-
who will not listen to caution. We have those who
caution.
are just merchants.
Agreed, but I'm saying
Yes.
caution in the church. Caution in the church in this manner that what Catholic bishops, when they gave that much hyped statement, claimed among many things, including atrocities, is that hospitals their money had not been given for the schools.
No, I
they
think
built,
it's wrong.
for the hospitals.
But it
they
was
built.
true. No.
Yes, and then they were paid. That money was paid the following year.
No,
Actually,
I think
Sifuna, the Nairobi Senate actually said
Yes.
they had not been paid.
No, he said 5 billion was disbursed through that defunct NHS.
I think it's also
That's
wrong.
what they said, right?
Anybody who is saying something that is correct, that resonates with where this country needs to go, you
Should
attach
be
money to
supported.
it. You should be supported.
No, well, I'm just saying.
And here you are,
Caution to the church. Nobody should be.
between Nairobi
Yeah.
and the Kiambu, we have 6 million Catholics.
Yes. Yes.
The church is protective
Of
of
the
their
6 million.
people who are being destroyed. The taxes lambed on their people, and those taxes are being stolen. The genuine church will not be happy.
Well,
Unless you are an atheist.
Even us,
I'm not really I doubt.
as a Christian, I will not be happy.
Yeah, as a Christian, I will not be happy.
I'm actually Catholic.
I'm a son of a
religious
pastor also.
bias.
Yes.
So
So
I'm
honestly.
very mad to see Anyolo or Muheria or Kimengi, whichever of the bishops, taking money from politicians when essentially people are going to hospital and chief is
And they
having
can't be
challenges.
treated.
Yeah, but has this problem begun now?
No, but
Were they taking money when we had the same problems?
no, there comes a time, there comes a time if there must be a beginning to something.
Remember
Because you
noise.
remember when we had
noise.
when we had the days of Ndingi Mwananzeki,
Mwananzeki.
Bishop Njoya, there was another
No,
SKB,
Njoya.
David
Gitari, yes.
That is- we-
All
we've
these people,
had- they have changed
they
the world.
agitated for good
Look.
governance and it worked. So maybe the church went down, yes, but there's a time now when we
They're
can't
rising.
and no, we can't.
Well, if they are rising,
With the dictatorship of Marcos,
that is hope.
without the church,
Yes.
Philippines will not have removed that man from the power.
It's true.
It is Cardinal
True,
Sin
true.
who stood firm because of his flock that Marcos was thrown away.
Well,
It is Anyolo and his bishops.
I love the way you have.
It is Ole Sopit and his
Of the world, yes.
bishops
Yes.
and others who, NCCK and others, that shall stand firm morally for us to have a moral nation.
Well, I hope so.
And the same has been experienced in Congo.
The same is there.
Yeah.
It's largely Catholic, yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
they've done so much to
They have a major role to play. What you should be doing, if you are a leader, is to ask the church to come out to the Gen Z tomorrow to protect Gen Z.
Yes, if they ever step out again for a
But
demonstration.
if you are saying that you can never be cheated, you are not superhuman. The church was called, and I've told you, even me, I failed paying.
You saw
When
the
I was,
tears.
when I was saying,
Maybe come to us.
I would have, it's possible. You only need to be clever. Even you have been called.
Yeah, many times.
Your biggest followers, meaning you did not educate them well, they were telling us atupangwangwi.
Yes.
So walipangwa.
Walipangwa kabisa. That's what I'm saying. The person at the center of all these things has not changed.
But let me ask you something.
That is my caution. The caution I'm giving through this channel is that we should not trust blindly.
Yeah, that's
We do not
the gist.
trust
Don't trust blindly.
No, trusting blindly is stupid.
Yeah.
Whether that is
Honestly.
a church leader, whether that is a politician, trust, seeking your trust.
You
Don't
must be
trust-
able
Don't trust blindly.
to look at where leanings are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are certain people who this country has trusted politically, but they are just proven openly that their intention was never
To transform.
a vision, was never a legacy, was not to create employment and utilize our investment in education positively. It was to get into power and get rich also.
And that's just it.
And that was it.
Okay.
They have just proven themselves. Every one of them is just dropping. Everybody is crying about KK government, but there are those who are dropping in it for selfish.
Reasons.
Yeah.
Okay, and something else I would want to know, is it, because when there was a lot of criticism for the bishops who went to State House, and everyone was saying they're going for the brown envelope. My question is, are we now at a point as a society where if the president invites you for a meeting, everyone assumes you're going to broker a deal?
That's what
Come
I'm
out
saying.
and tell Kenyans, this is what we discussed.
They will not believe it.
So now you have to, every time you meet the president, you have to give.
And why, you see, if you are in a team, there's no secret between 3, 4, 5 people. But if you are called alone, suspicion, number one. Number two, if you are called in a team and you don't come and explain what happened, because if you come out as a team and explain, one of you will leak the truth and will know you are called. But if you keep quiet, obviously we know you are there for personal benefit.
As is, everybody believes, as is the spirit in the country today, if you are seen tomorrow in State House, individually or collectively, you are branded as if you had got collectively.
Yeah.
That's the spirit in the country.
How shall we reverse that?
Well,
Because
It cannot be
believe
reversed
it should-
now, because what is happening to Kenyans, those that they trusted will help them. I can swear, William Ruto did not know the goons of Nairobi. It is the goons of Nairobi who came and destroyed the Gen Z demonstration. Who was the ally that provided those people. And all of us can see openly the benefit that ally got. So there are things we can just see openly.
It's open.
Yeah.
Wow. Zach, you said, do you have a solution for that? That if today the president invites me, I don't want everyone to imagine Sarah went to State House because there was a brown envelope.
The question.
Like, it's so bad. Even when there was a bishop coronation in Embu, the former president had to say his envelope is white.
Yes, because he knows the spirit out there. That the brown one has notoriety of some bad shame. What we are lacking fundamentally in society today, and what has broken irretrievably, is trust. The question of trust is gone.
And there's no attempt in trying to correct that. Let me tell you, you will not be labeled that you went for money in State House if the President of the Republic of Kenya changes. To me, there's a possibility of 1% he'll change, but 99% he'll never change.
So, we're going to an election in 2027. And again, this country is governed by law. So, do we have people that we shall trust with this country?
Of course.
There are so many.
Of course.
So how will people define Cyrus is genuine? Because you see, even the president we are critiquing today,
was done
genuine.
I really don't know, it's a hard one, but you can feel somebody. I don't know, maybe it is in me.
Spiritual.
I'm not claiming the Holy Spirit is in. I can't talk in tongues myself. But body language and extremism. To me, when you find something that is being done to an extreme level, there is something wrong with it. That I will, we don't even stand to ask. Ati tutatenda hii, tutafanya hiyo na hiyo na hiyo na hiyo. You don't stop to ask, how are you going to do it? I should be able to give an explanation on how I'm going to change Kenya. I should. And that explanation must make sense. And you'd hold me accountable because I explained the way I was going to do it. But when you talk about the bottom-up economy, in the bottom-up, you are not explaining how you are going to employ the children of this country, our largest investment, and you blindly trust it. We are not examining what we are trusting.
So we have to examine more.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a question of examining them. And also Kenyans must also take an active role in scrutinizing the people who come to them seeking leadership. They should not be blindfolded by party euphoria.
Yeah. Not just somebody who says.
Yeah. Or even the party says.
But he must be able to explain how he'll do it.
Yeah.
I saw a clip on TikTok where some young guy was saying, moving forward as a politician, if you come and tell us you want to be an MP, you have to lay your agenda. You tell us you will build a road. You must tell us after how long. So that,
and with whose money?
Yes. So
If
that
it is
we
by
know
taxes.
if it's 1 year, you say in 1 year, we come back after 1 year and if you've not done,
Two things. Is it taxes or investment?
that's very important. I think that's
One, as a leader, you must be honest and ensure the taxes of Mwananchi go towards their development.
Yeah.
But you must be something extra, because that is ordinary. Anybody can do it. How are you going to create investment?
Those are things.
Because if you are saying taxes can never develop a country, what else can develop a country? You must have a mind that can create. We are co-creators with God.
Yeah.
Let's use our minds to create. How am I going to create wealth to absorb the investment I made so that that investment can create more wealth and create a vision that can do it? Vision 2030 You are given a lapset. It needs 26, 27 billion US dollars. Look at investing that and picking $1 billion on a software.
To spy.
Hey.
Unfortunate, really. Zach, we are going to 2025. What are the...
That is billion in US dollars, eh?
Yeah.
I'm not illiterate when it comes to money.
I know you're very sharp with
No. Look at $1 billion, 103. It's almost $1 billion, eh? Yeah. $1 billion is good money enough to use it to source funding for that project, or applying it to create more money to do that project. And look at the employment it will create, more than the employment we have in the Republic of Kenya today. Just that one simple project
will change the fortunes of Kenya.
The people who have been employed in Kenya will have more than that number. New opportunities created just by developing LAPSET.
That is very, very true. And so many other projects. And actually, when you think about the idea of Vision 2030 and you look where we are, it would make people sad.
It would make people cry.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not that we lack ideas. Yeah. And that's why I keep on talking about intention of leaders.
Yeah. Intention, yeah, that has been very consistent. Zach, we're going to 2025. What are Kenyans looking forward to in terms of the political space especially?
I think the first thing, which is in everybody's mouth, is that we must have IBC reconstituted. That is good for all. Those who support the government, those who are against the government, those who have future ambitions, those who do not. Every citizen should have their eyes trained on a new reconstituted IBC because it has full work on its table, including registration of new voters, verification of voters, removing dead names in the register, cleaning of register, and then it's also work of delimitation of boundaries.
Yeah.
There is also some pending work in some constituencies. 3 MPs are not in office. MP for Banisa is dead. The MP for Magarini has been removed by the court, and now one of the MP in Siaya has been appointed a cabinet secretary. I think those 3 constituencies are not yet represented today. How do we bring representation for those people because they deserve? We can only do this through an election. Can we do an election today? No. Why? Because we don't have a commission. We may have an IBC in the secretariat, but we don't have no commission. We need this one done as soon as possible. And why are we not yet done? Because there is...
Kalonzo is in court.
Yeah, Kalonzo is in court. I think my friend Kalonzo Musyoka and the president, because both of them are the one holding this process, should sit down, agree. If there's a kid course who has brought it, remove it. Secondly, you now swear them in and let them begin their work. Selection panel, begin the work of recruiting new commissioners. I think that is the first thing. The second thing would be, as Ernest said, now we have gone into halftime. What has been done? What are the hits? What are the misses? If people would want a better status quo as is today, if they want a better one, are they prepared enough to take on the journey? Yes or no? If yes, what steps should they take politically? Political education is very important. It is extremely important. I will keep telling young people because these are the ones who we can bring change through the ballot. If you are bamboozled in your mind by celebrity status leaders, you'll always get condemned. If you cannot elect people because they don't have money, how can you get good people to lead? Already, the people, there are good people who have money, but majority of good people who have money do not want to lead. They want to grow the economy in the sector of entrepreneurship. Those people who want to give leadership to a country as a service, and they have good ideas that are authenticable. Do we listen to them? Yes, we do. But do we vote for them? No. We must drop the nonsense of party euphoria. This one I've already said. Kenyans in the end vote for euphoria, especially where I come from. Wanasemanga sisi tulikuwa tunataka kuchagua Cyrus, ni vile alikuwa kwa chama mbaya. Chama ndio ilikosea. Kulikuwa na upepo wa chama.
I hope they've seen.
Well, I trust that they should have seen that. But they said they had seen it 2007, 2012, 2017, 2022, euphoria. Good leaders are always sacrificed. By the way, do you know every year there is a good presidential candidate value? But one, either he is not from the right tribe, or he has no money, or he's not able to sustainably bring out the bad feelings that unite majority of the people, fear, tribalism, and such things. So I think 2025 is a year for reconstituting IBC. Lastly, the young people that were on the streets this year, my generation of millennial and Gen Zs, this is the year to build an arsenal of war. And this I keep saying, the arsenal of war is registration of voting. Whether this election is 27 or earlier, we cannot proceed.
You think there's an earlier?
Well, I mean,
there's a possibility.
There's a possibility in life, you never know.
Yeah.
But we cannot be useful if we are not registered voters. Those are two things I think Kenyans must do. And above all, I think we should remain hopeful that a better republic is possible. We have the ideas. We have people within our lives who can make things happen. We are not lacking of leadership. And there are guys in this country who knows what need to be done, how it ought to be done, and when. And finally, if there shall emerge a leader aspiring to lead the flock in this case, who shall obliterate corruption, issue amnesty to recover corrupt and corrupted public coffers, and hold to account people who have fleeced this country and stashed billions out of the country, I believe I can vote for such a man.
I believe
Such a woman.
I believe as it is, we have one person who has that potential.
Do you want to name them?
Okiya Omtata. He even said he will
Well, what is the evidence?
No, the number of cases is taken to court, and he even got the people of Busia back their land. Mm-hmm. So that's one evidence.
Okay, right.
He went because of housing, whatever levies. Like, I think he's a man
Has been a public litigator.
for so long.
Okay.
So let me just, Peter Munya says, no, Stephen Mutumbu, I think we have rulers, they're not leaders. Unfortunately, first world countries, some MPs and CSs do commit to work using public transport.
Yes.
That is not here in Kenya.
Netherlands. Rights about to office.
Yeah, then someone says Grammy Awards have a billion bid. That's madness when some people can't afford money for dialysis. They are no wonder wakona. Okay, I don't know what that means. Simple Play says the one thing Ruto has done is to make us work. He has lowered our threshold for accepting mediocrity. Mm-hmm. That's very deep, yeah? True. Let's see. Someone asked if I'm a propagandist. Why? Like,
You or us?
Me.
You said.
Did I sound like I am paid to do this for the regime or something?
Maybe it's hitting you on our behalf.
Wow. Okay. No, I'm not. I'm not a propagandist. That's one. There's ati huku utawapata kwa trains na wamesimama kama watu. Okay, I don't know what that is about. Oh, he's talking about out there. You meet leaders in trains, but here in Kenya,
standing on the train holding.
Yes, but here they're moving with motorcades, which is unfortunate. Anyway, thank you for contributing to the discussion. It's amazing to have you on board. This trend says, I believe when we accepted in our mind that we are from a certain region and tribe is when we destroyed our country. Mm-hmm. That I think is from the days of the first president. Mm-hmm. They are able to confidently stand and say, my people. Yeah. But that thing of calling people, at what point do you call me my people? Like, what am I a product?
Well, but what's the context? What is the president?
I've always wondered.
No, don't. When it's speaking about Kenya,
I've always wondered the ridicule of a normal human being judging another one by tribe. Yeah. I look at my skin is black. Mm-hmm. I look at yours is black. Mm-hmm. Even if yours is yellow, mm-hmm. If I cut you, the blood that comes out is red. Mm-hmm. How do you judge a human being based on race or tribe? There is obviously something wrong with you who is judging others based on tribe.
Yeah. Cyrus, what are you looking forward to 2025?
It's a year when the battle begins for those who want to salvage their country. And it has reached a point where an opportunity was given to the current regime by the young people of this country. When they came out in big numbers, they did not have anybody who could guide them, because they would have overthrown this country, this government. Now that opportunity was a wake-up call. But unfortunately, we went ahead to hire goons to fight them. We went ahead to think we can get the opposing political parties and kill opposition in Kenya. Meaning, our intention is to continue doing what they were protesting about. Kenyans are going to demand that if power genuinely belongs to them, they'll want to exercise it. And they'll have to find a way on how to exercise power the way it is in Section 1 of the Constitution, directly as the people of the Republic of Kenya. Because, of course, the section talks about power belonging to the people, and that people can exercise it directly or indirectly. Indirectly, they are exercising power through William Ruto, through their MPs, and through their councillors. But today, time is coming when Kenyans are going to ask, the first thing is, this power belongs to me. Let me exercise it directly. So the legal fraternity in Kenya, the law society in Kenya, and those this country invested so heavily in to be our learned friends, because the rest of us are educated, then they are learned. Please provide for us on how, as Kenyans, because we are the owners of the power, and the Constitution Section 1 says so, how do we exercise that power directly? Because I think it's the high time this regime is called back home.
Back home. And we have a lot of senior councils. Maybe we should look for senior councils.
They should tell us.
To come and tell us.
And explain to us.
Constitutional lawyers.
Yes.
How to give life.
Yeah, how to give life to that statement.
Yeah, they must give it life.
Must give it life.
Of course, we expect, normally, everything can't be in a constitution. Somebody should have come up with legislation to explain how people can exercise power directly. But given that we have now learned Parliament can be muzzled, then it needs to be expressly clear in the Constitution.
I think we need to invite Bobby Mkangi, because he's one of the lawyers I know who was part of the drafters of the Constitution.
Look for the chair of the whole team was Kura Okot.
No, he's dead.
No, it was the other people. Zamba, yeah.
But who was who wrote this Constitution? I thought it was Kura Okot.
No.
Kina Zamba Kitonga did the first one. This current Constitution.
No, it was Zamba.
It was Zamba.
Zamba in Abdulkadir.
Yes. And I
Abdulkadir
remember
is there. Kura Okot is there.
Even
Bob Mkangi is there. I remember because he was the first lawyer we saw with dreadlocks.
Anyway, those are in records.
Yeah, they should come and
those are in records.
Yeah.
You need to look for who wrote this Constitution, 2 or 3 of them, to come and give us the philosophy behind them saying that we can exercise this power directly and or through indirectly.
Yeah.
Indirectly, they have given us on how to exercise it. Let them come and give us on how we can exercise it directly.
Ah, fantastic. And since this marks the end of our final podcast for this year, maybe you need to wish our viewers a Merry Christmas and wishes for 2025.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, first of all, grateful to Alpha House for the moments we have had to converse. Conversations make great men, but great men are made out of good conversations. And I think we have offered ourselves to our republic. Remember, we were also here discussing American politics, and for that one, Cyrus bet me hands down because I had placed my bet in Democrats. He had said that Republicans will take it by a landslide.
And they did.
They did take it by, actually not a landslide, by an earthquake. And I think for that one, he has the crown. For me, I lost with my beautiful lady. And I think we have had our time to explain issues as we understand them. We were not the best. And for sure, the listeners and the viewers as they are interacting with you there, we need to thank them for being part of us. We were here someday when the country was dead, silent, when nobody would breathe. We were here when tense situations were there. Nobody knew what would happen in Kenya. Yet, in such moments of high tension and uncertainties, we came here with him and other people to try to ease in situations as we should as responsible citizens. And Kenyans appreciated the fact that we eased the movement, we shared with them, we gave them hope. We told them that the country is greater than any single individual, the country will stabilize. We will leave this country better than we found it. And as a matter of fact, it is true that now we have a better opportunity in peace to make a better country. And this is why we are asking Gen Zs that silence should not be surrender. They should not have, the fact that they are down, meaning they are not any longer in the streets, is not a statement for them to go quiet on high accountability of their leaders. I am asking Gen Zs, because Gen Zs will be 3 years older in the next election from wherever they were, whether one was 19 or 20 or 25 or 16, they will be 19. So it is their time to offer themselves for leadership. This country's first government was populated by young people. The Matibas of then, the Kibakis and the Julius Mekonyo and the Masinde Bolu. These were young people. They were not old. They were people who had come to fight either in the streets or in the universities or whatever. I think Gen Zs have a rare moment to go into 25 to start now planning how to become leaders. Look, people like us and Cyrus, if we vie today, we will be asked for money. And who will be asking money for us is the young people. So these young people can decide. Because they don't have money, they can pick one of their own and not ask for money, but give them votes. So they can have county assemblies full of them, they can have county speakers, they can have county governors, they can have national assembly in their hands, they can have senate. By the way, if they want to have president, they can have president today. So it is their time now to go beyond what Martin Luther King would say, beyond Vietnam War in his latest speech. So now say beyond Gen Z protests of 25th. What does Kenya portend for them? So 2025 has been a good year. Thank you for the opportunity. 2025 has been a year of learning. I called it eventful in the beginning because it is a year that we saw things we have never seen. It's a year that we stretched the constitutions beyond limits. And it's a year that we have set things right. Young people have never forced a president to dissolve a cabinet, so they won. Young people have never forced out an IGP or police to leave power. He did. Young people have never asserted themselves before a president to ask him to drop down a finance bill. An appropriation of law that determines how money will be used, they did this year. So I think although they suffered casualties and war and death and whatever, we are mourning with the families that lost their young people. We are also asking for those who have never been seen to be government to take responsibility and fast track their searching. If they have killed them, they should go ahead and say, we did kill them, sorry for this, if they can. I'm sure they won't, but this has been. So into 2025, gentlemen and ladies watching us, I want to wish you in a few days' time a Merry Christmas. Go and enjoy with your family. If you are going nowhere, enjoy wherever you are, but be responsible. This is it. Be responsible. Avoid indulgences that can cause your health. Avoid indulgences that can cause your life, including reckless driving. If you must drive your father's car, if you must drive your mother's car, if you must drive your car, be responsible. If you are a young girl, a young woman, you have finished high school, if you must taste the fruits of adulthood, be responsible. Take care. There are diseases. There are issues you can't handle. Young girls, you should not stay overnight in the clubs and whatever. There are dangers. We are living in days of femicide. You could simply, actually I was doing an exam last 2 weeks ago, and a question that came was a girl who had gone for a party. I mean, it's a question that lawyers should say what should be done, but the question and narrative was that a lady went to that disco matanga. This question was based in Western Kenya. Went for a disco matanga, then ate some a little bit. Then as she was walking back home in the middle of the night around 3 a.m., she was accosted near the railway by some thugs who raped her. I think some of these could be stories, but young girls, as much as the blood is boiling under your veins and some organs can no longer give you peace, I think it's important for you to responsibly enjoy your life. This is a Merry Christmas. It's a moment where we remember the death of Jesus, rather the birth of Christ that was born to save the life of mankind from miserable, sinful life. Enjoy this Merry Christmas, but I will not tell you prosperous New Year. I want us to have with him an actionable New Year. It's a year of action. Words from words to actions, reclaiming our country, reclaiming our spaces, reclaiming our businesses, reclaiming our lives above all. Goodbye.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thank you, Alpha House. We've had a good relationship over the year. I'm looking forward to a better one in the coming days. For our viewers and Kenyans in general, good things don't come easily. Let us stay steadfast. I know most of you are frustrated over this festive season. The few, very few will enjoy, and and a majority will not even be able to put food on the table. This anomaly must be corrected, and nobody will correct it for us. We must do it ourselves. A lot of things have happened. This year we had the elections in the US. People said Trump hates Africans. Why should he win? I said, why should he love you? Americans are only 325 million people. Why would 1.5 billion Africans in Africa seek to be loved and seek to beg from 325? Let us change leadership in our continent, beginning with here in Kenya. Get people to understand what leadership is all about and how to change the economies of our countries, how to benefit the population through exploitation of our natural resources, and how to seriously utilize our biggest investment, our people. We have spent so much money on educating them, and the parents who have struggled so much to take care of us, to get to where we got. Some of us are now old men. We really must understand the biggest asset the Republic of Kenya has is its people. Let us love our country. Hate anybody who tells you they want to export you to be a slave out there. Create opportunity at home. I wanted Trump to win. One, you can hear he's already fighting with the GMO, which our leadership here was telling us how nice it is. I wanted Trump to win because he will not tell you a lot of good stories. And he will not entertain you to go to America to mess with the taxes of Americans. Create your own taxes by forcing proper leadership in your countries. I support Trump heavily just because what he's talking is the truth. We are all human beings with the abilities to change our lives. But there are those who want to choose to sit in comfort zones for the sake of taking shortcuts to benefit. We will have to bring them to an end. And I'm asking the legal community in Kenya, the churches in Kenya, the young people in Kenya, it is not the age that will change this country. It is the thoughts of who is leading. We've also had young leaders who are doing a mess of themselves.
Absolutely.
Just as we have had mature leadership, some of them have performed well, and others are just as criminals. So we are all Kenyans.
It's not big.
But come out and exercise
That's right.
your democratic right. Look for leadership spaces and also participate in leadership. And I know they'll try and limit the number of people registered as voters, but fight for it. Let us agitate to ensure every voice in Kenya is heard. I hope and look forward to a better tomorrow.
Just tell them Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And from myself, I say thank you so much for always working with us throughout this journey on this podcast. It's been an amazing, eye-opening season, and hopefully next year you will still be there with us, and we shall continue to bring in more guests, more conversations that of course are geared towards changing this country for the better, because when the country changes, it's for everyone, and that is a good thing. So thank you for watching. We will see you next year. Have a Merry Christmas and Happy 2025. See you then.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Too far, but
Yeah.
oh.
Okay.